Again, come again. You know, keep coming in.
It's time you will remember.
Did you say Dr. Cook? I want you to know that during April we spend a lot of time, and I always spend a lot of time in doing presentations throughout the island. And I don't say this as the kids would say to big up your heads, but certainly I always appreciate the support we get from the Rotarians. You're always gracious. People say, do you get nervous? I say, yes, everywhere except for the Hamilton Rotary. And they say, why? I said, because they're an amazing bunch of people. No, and as I said, I don't say that just because you, but you make me feel welcome, and I appreciate it. Let me start my presentation. Certainly, good afternoon, President Simons. See, President Simons is even president again this year, so these good things keep happening. Rotary members, ladies and gentlemen. It's always a pleasure to speak to Hamilton Rotary Lunches each April. But before I begin my discussion on Alcohol Awareness Month this year, I want to offer you the congratulations of Carter's board and staff on the 90th anniversary celebrations and the recent installation of the Walter Maddock Memorial Rotary clock in front of City Hall. An impressive clock, I will say that. I don't drive for City Hall very often, but I made a point of going that way. I said, it's blue. I think it's blue. It certainly looks like blue, but it's a great looking clock. So certainly it's truly an impressive timepiece and fitting tribute to the accomplishments not only of Mr. Maddock, but to your organization's commitment worldwide to eradicate polio. So give yourselves a round of applause, and it really is an impressive piece. I certainly hope it sits there for another century in and of itself, and I'm sure you designed it just that way. This year, Carter, encouraging responsible alcohol behavior, works diligently towards a number of activities designed to increase the public's awareness of what responsible alcohol consumption looks like. This year, we are pleased to recognize that the government of Bermuda has taken the bold steps to keep alcohol out of the hands of children and teens. Passed earlier this year, the Liquor License Amendment Act 2014 requires that liquor licensees to demand photographic ID from anyone they suspect to be under the age of 18. If the person fails to produce photographic identifications, the licensed establishment will refuse to sell or supply intoxicating liquor to those individuals. Remember, as much as we beat our heads and say things don't change, it's a slow throb along. So certainly coming here every year is getting the message out. So that is a positive step. This is indeed a positive move forward, as Bermuda is vitally important for the revision. Move forward for Bermuda. It is vitally important that revisions to the Act, such as these, continue to be made. We know, based on the survey of students on knowledge and attitudes towards drugs and health in 2014, completed by the Department of National Drug Control, that it suggests persons that young people in Bermuda may be experimenting with alcohol and/or drugs at an earlier age than previously suspected. In some cases, as young as, well, they would say would be 7.8, but I don't break my children up into points or quarters, so we say 7 and or 8. Studies have shown that studies have shown that the younger a person is when they begin consuming alcohol, the more likely they are to develop addiction to alcohol and or drugs. Let me repeat that. Studies have shown that the younger a person is when they first consume alcohol, they are greater likelihood to become addicted to alcohol and or drugs. How much more likely? 4 times more likely to become addicted to alcohol and drugs. And I don't know any parents or guardians that are rallying for the kids to become addicted to alcohol and drugs. So the message is really very, very simple. Keep alcohol out of the hands of your children. Not complicated, really simple stuff. This year, we have 2 goals for Alcohol Awareness Month. They are to educate the community about sobriety checkpoints. You see in front of us, we have the sobriety checkpoint 6-step process, what they look like and what they're designed to do. Our second objective is to encourage open dialogue between adults and young people and children about not drinking alcohol, at least until the age of 18, and about responsible drinking of alcohol after that age. It should be noted that in the recent household survey conducted by the DNDC, that 63% of Bermudians were in favor of social hosting laws. And social hosting laws are really laws that ensure that if my kids or your kids go over to their friend's house to a party, that the adults in that environment are responsible to ensure that my kids aren't exposed to alcohol and or drugs. And
we do this thing called camps, and cop match, and we'll actually deal with cop match and camps as well as the consumption of alcohol in any environment such as that. In 2012, the Department of National Drug Control issued results of a study they conducted among students in P5, P6, and M1. Students in 34 public and private schools participated in the program, and the report titled Report of the Survey of Students' Knowledge and Attitudes on Drugs and Health 2012 survey of pupils between 9 and 11. This is the first time the DNC conducted this type of research among students within the stated age group. In the past, they have surveyed students specifically in high school. The report indicated that the number of children who use alcohol and drugs tend to increase as they get older. For instance, 33% of 12-year-olds reported using alcohol compared to 17% of 10-year-olds. I don't know why that shouldn't cause us concern, but we say 33% of 12-year-olds are consuming alcohol. Well, that's a problem. That means 33% of our 12-year-olds are more likely to become addicted to alcohol and drugs because they're consuming alcohol before the age of consent, in this case, which is 18, and 17% of 10-year-olds. So if anybody's got grandkids or little kids running around, just take a look at that. 17% of our 10-year-olds in 34 public and private schools are saying they consume alcohol, or they're trying. And if they take that and lock it into the fact that they're 4 times more likely to become addicted to alcohol and drugs, well, I'm not Einstein, but it doesn't take a rocket science to figure out the connection. The DNDC reports highlight Wakata at what we at Qatar believe every parent guardian should know about young people and the use of alcohol and drugs. The following statements were taken directly from that report. Youth who drink also are more likely to become victims of crime and sexual assault. This is also Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Good job to the ladies at the Women's Resource Center, but we're feeding the link in all of this, yes? They are more likely to have serious problems in school, be involved in drinking-related traffic crashes, develop problems with alcohol later in life. Young people who may take drugs as they struggle to establish their independence in a society where alcohol and other drugs are associated with being an adult. Remember, kids mimic us. What they see us do, they will do. Other reasons that young people may use alcohol and drugs include curiosity, social influence such as peer pressure, enjoying the feeling, for example, the effects of ecstasy induce increased energy and faux confidence. I say faux confidence because it is false confidence. Risk-taking and rebellion can be exciting, especially when it involves parental disapproval of illegal substances, and escapism. Alcohol and other drugs may be used as a means of avoiding problems associated with family life, school frustrations, friendship, relationship difficulties, low self-esteem, and or depression. The report also states, and I quote, although drugs have become deeply ingrained in our society, parents and guardians must remain vigilant. Young people must receive clear messages that underage drinking and illicit drug use are not acceptable. The legal drinking age in Bermuda is 18 years old, and it is therefore against the law to sell or provide alcohol to anyone who is under that age. Parents in the wider community have a responsibility to uphold the law and to protect children from exposure to an early initiation to drinking and using other drugs. To that end, Qatar has developed a number of techniques which you can find at qatar.bn, and or you can go to the dndc.gov.bn. There are several talking points available at both of those websites to allow you to facilitate having that conversation with your children. The role of speaking with our children within the sphere of influence, in our sphere of influence about alcohol, falls on the shoulders of all responsible adults. It is often a difficult topic to broach, and we recommend that you take several steps to have this conversation, not just the one big conversation. This isn't a one-time conversation. What we suggest is that you just take it in a very logical way. Have many conversations, because the one-time big conversation just really won't work. If you go to our Qatar Facebook page, CADA/Record to Responsible Alcohol, we partnership with another organization, not unlike us, drinkaware.uk, and there is a YouTube video which is only 4 minutes long. You can click on it, and it'll take you through the process of having that conversation about youth and alcohol, as well as how you have that conversation with your kid about social media. So feel free to go to our page to see that as well. I've indicated in my speech that it's the responsibility of every adult to accept the important necessary activity of keeping alcohol out of the hands of children and teens under the age of 18. You will see there is a section in the document that I've shared, and I've sent you to the web page to work on that. The question is, have the conversation. Young people who say so, why do you drink? And they're going to ask you, trust me. I don't know if they didn't ask back in the day, but they're going to certainly ask you nowadays, why did you drink? You drink alcohol, why can't I? Did you drink when you were a kid? These are tough questions. We expect those, and you should expect them. But if you go to CARTA.bm or to the dndc.gov.bm, you'll be given some very clear and easy to follow steps-by-step process to actually answer those questions. But I will implore you that, trust me, be honest. Just be honest, have the conversation, and it's a process. Kids are smart. They pick up on everything. But you should expect these type of tough questions and more. However, don't shy away from the discussion because you may have to answer them. Any of these type of questions, there's even more reason for the conversation. If you're interested in reading the DNC report about the kids on 2012 report, it can be also found at CARTA's website, CARTA.bm, as well as the dndc.gov.bm. You notice that now we talk about websites because it's a whole lot easier than actually chopping on trees and printing papers. So work with us this year. As we did last year, we repeat throughout the month, CARTA's board members and I will continue to talk about sobriety checkpoints. We remain staunch advocates that this program, as we know that in other jurisdictions where there's been implemented, there has been a significant increase in the number of alcohol-related road collisions and fatalities. What you may or may not be aware of, that road collisions have added in 2012, which is the last time we have an annual statistic, over $1 million to our health insurance premiums. That is road collisions. We don't have the 2013 stats yet, but over $1 million in healthcare premiums were paid as a result of road collisions. So deaths are critically important, but as critically important are collisions because those numbers in terms of healthcare costs continue to rise as a result of collisions related to alcohol. When we examine road traffic fatalities in Bermuda, generally speaking, a large number of deaths which occur on our road involve alcohol and drugs. We believe that the introduction of sobriety checkpoints will go a long way to reducing and perhaps eliminating the number of fatalities we experience each year. As the organization CARTA has looked at the best practices and found that in countries such as Ireland, Australia, and all European Union countries, with the exception of the UK, now have adopted the practice of setting up well-publicized roadside checkpoints, stopping every nth vehicle, having every motorist that is stopped give a breath test. If the road breath test shows that the person is at or above a certain level of alcohol, he or she is then transported to the police station or the command vehicle for the fully calibrated alcohol breathalyzer machine. If the fully calibrated machine shows that the person's alcohol level is above the legal limit of consuming alcohol, that person is arrested for impaired driving. The true objective of this practice is creating awareness among motorists that if they drink and then drive, apprehension is inevitable. In order for this to be effective, the enforcement of the venture campaign must be 1, highly visible, conducted as often as possible, rigorously enforced as to ensure credibility and well publicized. A key component of a well-publicized sobriety checkpoint, really, friends, is to ensure that the public knows it's going to happen. If it's well-publicized, you know that on Friday at 2:30 a.m. there's going to be a checkpoint down on East Broadway. It doesn't have to be East Broadway. Then you're more than likely to, 1, reduce your consumption of alcohol, which kind of might be wise. 2, find an alternative way home. 3, have a designated driver. And those are all good things that we want to do encourage in the country. Because that way you can have a good time, but you certainly develop practices where you're responsible in your consumption of alcohol. The police will set up the checkpoint and decide beforehand that they will stop every nth car. They can decide to stop every 10th car or every 20th car. Whatever the decision is, each nth or car, 10th, 20th, whatever, their number falls on, they will stop that car. This is called non-selective testing. Non-selective testing because it eliminates any bias, any arbitrariness of the process. You know you're stopping every nth vehicle. If it's a bike, it's a car, it's a male, it's a female, you stop it. An interesting stat that came out recently in the 2013 household survey, which you can also find at CARTA.bm and at dndc.gov.bm, is that in Bermuda, women drink harder liquor than men. I don't know why. Men drink beers, women drink spirits. As interesting is that 90% of all DUIs are actually men. There's another interesting stat, and I won't give you all the stats, is that married couples drink more than single. You can ask me that question. I don't know why you married guys drink more than single people, but it's pretty interesting stuff with that. But the DNDC just finished this survey, and they used a sampling of 1,200, and as you probably are aware, and I'm sure you're aware, that the general sampling is 400, but they tripled the sampling so to ensure that they have some really good, accurate data. This is called non-selective testing because they're entirely unbiased and processed with no room for profiling. Once the checkpoint is set up, the driver of every AMP vehicle is stopped and the roadside breath test is administered. If the motorist is not over the legal limit, within a few minutes they are able to go. We like to say, you stop, you go, if you're good, you go. However, if the roadside breath test shows that you are at or above the threshold level of alcohol, the person is transported to the police station and the police command vehicle for the fully calibrated breathalyzer test, and of course then you're arrested for DUI. But we know that happens every day. We are a very small community. When one person loses life in a road traffic crash, we're all impacted. Especially if someone suffers extensive injuries, they may have long-lasting physical, mental, or emotional ramifications. We all are affected. In each case, we have lost knowledge, wisdom, and the contribution that this person would have otherwise made to our society. Carter's A, B, C, D, the Winners Campaign helps us to remind people that they should put a plan in place before they leave home if they intend to drink. The ABCD program campaign has been in place for a number of years and is extremely simple. Always use a bus, cab, or designated driver. A, B, C, D. The simple reminder saves lives. We must continue to remind each other and demonstrate responsible alcohol behavior. If you and friends get together for dinner and drinks, make sure you have a plan in place to get home safely. Your responsibility is to remind others beforehand to put their plan in place. Ladies and gentlemen, I encourage you to visit our website, carter.pm, to learn more about both areas of focus for Alcohol Awareness Month, talking to children and young people, and about the important successes we have with sobriety checkpoints. We know they work. We must find a way to implement this program. It might also be worth noting at this point in time in the recent 2013 household survey, 83% of all Bermudians agreed that we needed sobriety checkpoints. I don't know any ever in Bermuda, 83% that was ever agreed on anything.
Yeah.
Kirk's like, yeah. But 83% of us know that sobriety checkpoints must happen. It is Carter's task, and we empower you to work with us and to help us to get this program put in place. It saves lives, it saves hospital bills, it saves health insurance costs. It's a program that has worked in North America and it works in Europe. Sobriety checkpoints make sense. And as I say to everybody, they say, why hasn't it happened? I said, because I haven't had the wherewithal to convince the policymakers that it needs to happen. But clearly we've had some impact because 83% of Bermudians are told to say, you know what, sobriety checkpoints make sense. So it says to us at Carter that our message is getting out there. All we need to do is lift that Herculean task of getting the policymakers and the legislators over the next proverbial hump. As we continue our education advocacy to save lives, we encourage you to join us. You have a voice. We urge you to use it. You can save a life. And I thank you for allowing us to spend some time with this afternoon.
You say you have a question or two. Are there any questions for us?
Dr. Cook, don't give me a hard question.
I have a question.
Vice President Kirk.
Wait,
Yeah, I'll give you a question. So, you know, obviously you have spoken to the Minister of Security in the past government and probably the present government. And what kind of, what you're advocating is obviously very sensible. What kind of response do they give you?
Oh, Anthony is a great idea. No, actually, in the past and current government, and I always call them legislators and/or policymakers, and that's not necessarily me being facetious. The current Minister of Transport, back in the very first thorough speech of this current government, made a commitment to implement sobriety checkpoints. But in the last 3 months, he's reiterated that commitment to continuing to have them, and he's working towards making it happen. I can tell you that's his commitment. I call him as often as I can, and every time I see him, I say, where are we in the process? You know,
Don't give me excuses, give me results. You know, it saves lives, it reduces costs. Pray tell, what else would you like? Any other questions? Yes, sir. I don't know your name, sorry?
Graham Henderson.
Graham?
Yes.
Hey, hi, Graham, how are you?
Thank you. I was just curious about the roadside breath tests.
Yes.
And did you have a particular kind of apparatus or unit that?
We appreciate that we kind of don't do breath tests, but there is a roadside sobriety testing equipment that is available. As I said, we're not reinventing the wheels. All we did, and believe it or not, we actually did this report in 2008 for then Minister Dale Butler, who said go wide and find the best possible best practice worldwide on how we can reduce the risk. Number of road fatalities and collisions on the road and a few other things for our traffic. And they're doing it they're now doing it in the UK, I believe, but they're doing it in Europe, they're doing it in Canada, they're doing it in North America. So we're not reinventing the wheel. All we're going to do is say best practice, introduce them to Bermuda. But again, the key to sobriety checkpoints is having it well publicized. It isn't the actual physical component of the actual act itself, which clearly is an important part of it. But if you start publicizing it in a reasonable period of time, and I think the standard practice is 4 days before you actually have the correct test, you start publicizing, so everybody knows. All of a sudden, you're starting to create this air of discipline. And people say, oh, yeah, okay, let me do it, you know? And that's really where we're trying to go. We're trying to create this air of discipline so that people understand, yes, the sobriety checkpoint is coming in, but at the same time, we're modifying our cultural habits that we do as well. So it has not just the immediate impact of catching people that are consuming alcohol, but it starts to send a message nationally that this isn't something that we should do.
And the reason why I ask is because I joined the Reserve Police back in 2004, and ever since early days of me joining, I'd always heard about, we're going to be getting these new roadside breathalyzer equipment that we're going to be able to use and employ, and it was always sort of like, it's coming.
So how do you think I feel?
so many police officers were like, when are we going to get this stuff?
I got a little joke about that, but I won't say it because somebody will tape it.
Last question.
Is that Margaret?
Yes.
Hi.
Quick question. Why is there such importance on the public, the publicizing of the checks? Do you mean in general or every day, such as there's a checkpoint? People avoid those roads.
Because the importance of the checkpoint, as I said, isn't not just a physical thing, because this can be a surprise. You know, the days when I was in the Army, we had these SNAP VCPs. Is it this guy, right, Ben? Yeah. There we go. It's these SNAP VCPs, and they serve the purpose of those SNAP VCPs for the captures. The importance of checkpoints is to create an atmosphere that is responsible for us to consume alcohol. Is say, okay, because right now we don't actually have that. So we have that conversation. So it's important just to publicize to start to change people's behaviors. And if you don't, then guess what? You get stopped. And then you do what you do. You have to visit magistrate one.
And you don't think the surprise effect will be better?
I know it will be better. Well, I know because we went and we looked at best practices, and this is one of the best practices. No, surprise sometimes is not good, Professor.
Vice President, now we can give the formal thanks of the club.
President Evelyn and fellow Rotarians, it's indeed a pleasure to have the opportunity to thank not only my friend but a colleague, Anthony. In fact, anyone that calls us an amazing bunch of people deserves to come back again. So I'm putting a plug there. But Anthony, we wish you all the success in continuing your education on the non-selective testing. One, the fact that 83% of the general population believe that we should have it. 100% of Rotarians, I'm sure, believe that we should have it. So continue on that, because I'm sure at some time or the other, someone in this room has been touched by a road fatality or something like that. So we encourage you with your education. Thank you very much for coming today.
My pleasure. Thank you very much. Thank you.